Yeah. I kick them all fucking going. Yeah. Live out the 718, it's the motherfucking kid, yo. What up, y'all? It's your boy M3L, and we back again with another episode of the M3L Podcast. First and foremost, let me just thank everybody for tuning in. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And my guest this week is a real cool dude. I got a lot of respect for this dude, for what he's doing. He does a lot of work in his community. And where I got the most respect for this dude is a single father taking care of his two sons, which, like, we don't really hear about too much of, like, the fathers out here handling their business. So without no further ado, let me introduce Mr. Mike McLeod Jr. What's good, bro?
Hey, much, my G. How you?
I'm good, man. I can't complain at all, man.
Yeah.
So first and foremost, I appreciate you making the time to come up here and kick it with us. I know for the last week we've been kind of like missing each other, but we finally got the time to put this together. So first, let me thank you for just making the time for us to do this. First off,
Well, I appreciate you even reaching out, bro. Like, word. You know what I mean? I appreciate that to even talk about, what we're about to talk about today. So
I see you post a lot of videos, and even some of the stuff you post, like, is super dope to me. I mean, like the things that you kind of instilling in your boys, like, it's like super dope. And like to see like a father kind of, like, we don't hear too much about the fathers being around with their mothers and together, and for you to even be a part, like you Dolo, is like we don't like, bro, that's almost like we don't hear at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Way back, even before I met my kid's mother, even before I had kids, man.
Right.
I used to always hear about, hear dudes going through their situations and
Right.
bad and this. And I used to be like, yo, B, I don't care what happened. My time, I'm getting mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it was. Like, yo, I'm getting mine. Anything happen, we go our separate ways.
Right.
With me. However, I got to work it out. Whether, like I said, even though I got two boys, everybody be like, well, what if you had a girl? I'd be like, it'd been the same thing. You know what I mean? I figured that out. So that's how I used to always be. And, the funny thing about, like they say now, I wasn't into all of that, but you manifest certain things.
Right.
So maybe I did at the same time. It's a good thing, but a bad thing because I manifested also a separation. You know what I'm saying?
But it's super dope, man. I got so much respect for what you're doing, and even outside of that, just the work you're doing with the community, with the young boys, like, it's just super dope. Like, and like, we kind of know each other from high school a little bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we both got to raise through the same program.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And we kind of got to rock out a little bit through that. And it's so crazy, bro, because like freshman year, when you was balling, right? I never really got to see you play.
Okay.
But I always heard about you.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to see you play until sophomore year.
Okay.
When you was playing JV.
Yeah.
And that's when I was like, oh, nah. I see what they was talking about. You know what I'm saying?
It's all that's crazy, man. Like, to go back to that, like, the crazy thing about that, like, how you always got images of certain stuff and all that and whatnot. I think I remember when I first got accepted to St. Ray's, like, the whole, like, day, everything. Like, I could still see that somewhat clear coming to school, the park right across the street and all of that stuff like that. And then for me, it was totally different because basically everybody was in the Bronx.
Right.
Me and like one other dude was going back to Manhattan on that 6 train and all that stuff, especially when practices started, then it was even worse.
Right.
Like, I'm the last one out all the way back downtown. And
that travel.
It was cool being like, Parkchester, running through there every now and then and stuff like that. That was also tough. Word to mother, funny situation. Same thing. Mary J. Blige, My Life album out.
Mm-hmm.
We supposed to play Rice or something like that. That's when I got moved up to varsity my sophomore year.
Right.
Somebody, I don't know if it was Ray, somebody, whatever, had the sleepover, had the pajama jam sleepover joint. Yo, it was crazy. And we got snowing in and all that. Right? Whoever house it was, they was right by the train station, like in the middle part of Parkchester, where you could see like the stores and the train station from their window. But
Right.
whatever happened, there was some crazy snowstorm. They canceled the Rice game, and everybody just stayed at whoever house it was that day. But St. Ray's was dope, man. Things could have been different, but everything worked out the way it worked out for a reason, B.
Right, right. And even like that year, that sophomore year, I think sophomore year, you kind of got moved up to Vars kind of late. Cause I
Nah,
remember,
early.
yeah, cause I remember you playing with JV for a little while
Yeah,
before you moved up.
yeah,
And I used to always bug out because I was the dude. I used to always just stay behind and watch the practices.
yeah,
And I used to always bug because and you might not even notice, but Matt,
yeah.
that's my cousin.
Okay.
So I used to always bug like why you and Matt didn't get more playing time with Voss. And I kind of watched I think it was something you did a little while back on like an Instagram live, like went through an interview, and you
Yeah,
kind of broke that down a little bit and kind of shed some light for me as far
yeah.
as what was going on. And my my lady cousin is Chris McCray.
Okay.
He came in, I think he came in a couple of years after we was already gone,
Yeah.
but he had like a similar situation like your situation.
Okay.
You had, the Gauchos and the Riverside
Yeah.
guys where they was kind of promised
Yeah.
PT, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And stuff of that nature. So like that kind of shed more light on it for me. But before we really get going, just give a little bit of your background, like where you from, how you grew up, and stuff of that
All right.
nature.
Like I said, of course, that's why I had the hat on, already.
Mhm.
Forster all day.
Harlem.
That's the starting grounds. You know what I mean? Between Forster and Millbank, man, that was home. You know what I mean?
Right.
115th and 118th. I was in between those blocks coming up and, met Wayne Banner, and through Wayne, he introduced me. Like, I probably wasn't even playing basketball like that when I started going to Millbank. It was just something to do.
Right.
Met Wayne and, all of us with Bronski, Chop, everybody was, all together, and we just clicked. And, that's how I'm doing with my program. Like, we just became boys and we was just playing all the time and stuff. So, you know what I mean? Came up playing at Millbank, doing my thing and stuff like that. And
Mm-hmm.
from there, went on to St. Ray's. Like I said, the thing about it was we played in some tournament that St. Ray's had for like up and coming kids going into high school or whatever.
Okay.
I killed, but I ended up getting hurt in the tournament, pulled my groin, something like that or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Next thing you know, Coach Scott, all of them, I'm getting, everybody hit me up. But at the time, I had a friend, my man, you might know my man Hip Hop, my man Yams.
Okay.
He he was a fan of Terrence Rencher. He put
Mm.
me on to Terrence Rencher, who Terrence Rencher went to St. Ray's.
Right. Yeah.
The whole thing connected. We went up there, played. It was like, yo, I'm going to St. Ray's. I like T. Rencher, da 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 da. So I'm going to St. Ray's. They gave me the op, and then I came. And then, like I said, that freshman year, played, did my thing that freshman year, but grades and stuff like that at the end of the year threw me off. And then I still got ranked though. I was 15th in the city at that time and stuff like that, amongst freshmen and all that at the time. Ron,
Right.
uh, Al Odom, all of them, and I killed
Yeah.
out there. Like I said, I think I had 40 out there at Christ the King freshman year and stuff like that.
I
Like,
remember that.
it would. I remember vaguely, but I remember certain nights and people and things people tell me and stuff like that. So, but you know, and what it was again, just like you said, like I played for Millbank, other people played for other organizations and stuff like that. And if I would have stayed there, it would have messed up some things for other
Right.
people and other people that were supposedly coming in. But I didn't learn about none of this until way after the fact.
The
When people,
politics.
yeah, when people spoke on, and that's part of what I'm doing with what I'm doing as well too, because the stuff that you see me do with the kids, I never did. I never worked out with I
Mm,
never worked out with St. Ray's. Like I missed preseason because I failed off.
right.
You know what I mean? We just played ball. We was in Kingdom in the circle balling all day, or in back in the Green Gates balling all day at Millbank playing tournaments. Like that's how
But
I
that's
got.
how it was back in the day. It
Yeah,
wasn't too much working out. It was just basically you play ball. Like if you
yeah,
wanted to get better, you just played against the older dudes. Like,
exactly.
you know what
And
I'm
there was a
saying?
few. It was a few people that showed certain people certain things and stuff like that.
Right.
That came with playing with some of them other organizations. You know what I mean? Like I even say this, like you know, they was going to AAU. I was playing unlimited at 55th.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like they 16, 17 going out there. I'm 16, 17 playing 55th. You know what I'm saying?
Against grown
Playing
men.
exactly. And still doing what I had to do. So I think about it now, like, yo, man, if I would have been going out to Iowa or all these places they was going and
Right.
playing against these little kids at that time.
Playing against people your age. It would have been
Yeah. But not knowing any better and stuff like that, not like I tell them, the people that I grew up with that coached me and stuff like that, they taught me how to be a man. They didn't know
mm,
basketball yet. They was learning as they go, dealing with us and other people and stuff like that. So they couldn't tell us like, yo, this is what you need to do instead of doing this, or this is what you should be doing instead of that. And for me, because it was still going well, you know, you don't say nothing. And that's kind of what I want to speak for, is like someone like yourself, someone like the people who we didn't have it that bad, where it was like, yo, you got to really be on this kid and try to
right.
make it this type of way. But we ain't have it that good. We was above certain the kids that was in the middle, that that I look at now, that be getting forgotten. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
yo, he got shoes, he got somewhere to sleep, he got this, he got that. So that same attention is not given as it is to that kid. They feel like, yo,
Right.
he ain't got nothing to eat, he ain't got
Yeah.
this,
It's
he
almost
got
like he all right, he good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But we losing out on some of that potential with some of these kids nowadays, because we looking at it like they ain't really got no issue. So we ain't got to push them the same way we push
Push.
this kid. Or the one that
Right.
we are is the star that we like, yo, we know he got it, so we going. And don't get me
Facts.
wrong, I got that type of treatment, but like I said, it was different. Workouts wasn't like that, even for the college players. Like I remember being around Sham and Reem and all of them and stuff like that. Like that was like stuff later on down the line. I didn't see that at an early age. You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Like I said, the same thing. They just played ball like us. When it came time for them to lock in, they was able to lock in. You know what
right.
I'm saying? Like, I remember seeing Chan, Garvin, so Ali Mo and all of them at certain stages, like really locking in, because they was shooting for a goal at that time to play professional or do their college thing a certain type of way. But
Hmm.
before that, it was just like us, just regular
Playing
basketball.
ball. Right.
You know what I mean? And then I ain't played for Gauchos, I ain't played for Riverside, so I don't know what was going on there. At Millbank, we was just a place that opened up the doors to everybody, and just you come in, whoever, even if you played for Gauchos Riverside, you were still welcome. So, and
Right.
that's the same thing with, with what I'm doing as well too. You don't got to play for me, but you still welcome to be here. You're welcome to work and, do other things that we do and stuff. So,
So
just
let me
coming up.
ask you this. So what? Millbank was more like a center than an
Yeah,
actual basketball program.
yeah, it was both. It was both.
Okay. All right.
Because Millbank now got the they got they the Flyers, but they mix it up. My man Coach Rose, who another guy that was a mentor to me
Right.
back in the days, through just being a man and also showing me how to run programs as far as what I do, as far as the recreation portion and stuff like that.
Right.
So you know what I mean? But yeah, it was an after school program, like Boys and Girls Club. You
Like
come there,
Kids Bay and stuff like that.
but we had a team
Right.
and
Yeah.
stuff. And because Millbank was one of the, like, I can't think of no facility kind of still to this day that's like Millbank. You know what I mean? Like Millbank got indoor, outdoor court, swimming pool, all of that stuff. And this is in the middle of the Harlem. And it's been here forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm 41 years old and I'm still considered a member. That's my home.
That's
And
dope.
that's been there way before me and all that stuff. So that's what we had, and that's how everybody came. Like I said, even then, the focus wasn't basketball. It was just that me, my crew, we had some nice dudes that made it where, and even before us, like it was always good basketball players that came through Millbank. We're not the first, you
Right.
know what I'm saying? But for my era and stuff like that, like we had some good basketball players. All my dudes, Bronsky, Chop, Smile, Damo, Floyd, Rel, Sarah, like all of them, we all went to good school. Yeah, so like St. Ray's was an experience because another, like I said, a dude that was kind of a mentor with me and stuff. Like I said, I didn't watch. I wasn't under Ream that much at St. Ray's.
Right.
I was told to pay attention. You know what I mean? And how he moved and how he did things and stuff like that. And I would watch practices and be around him and stuff. But when I got moved up to varsity, Gary D decided to put me under June, under Charlton.
Right.
And when I went on the trips, I would share a room. Like I tell June to this day, I still fold my clothes the way I do because how he showed me how to fold my clothes on the trip. Word to mother, my shirts and all that. I tell him that now.
Right.
And whatnot. And and even with him, like, I played sometimes, but I didn't play because, to move up in the situations and stuff like that. And, I watched him be like, yo, Mike, I need you to let me know, like I put up 6 shots this quarter, keep tally of what I need to make sure I put up a certain amount of shots. I need to make sure. And that was the first time I seen somebody like be precise about basketball. Like I just played and went with the flow with it. But he had an objective with it. And even then I didn't understand it. I didn't use that. But when I look back on it now, like I've never, but I know people that now are technically like that. Like, yo, I got to make sure I put up
this amount of shots, right?
I got to make sure I do this. It was never like that. And that's how I said, like, I wish I knew that. Like, if I wish I had that mind state about it, I wish it was YouTube and all of that. Because I played for the crowd, so I would have been going crazy for all these videos and stuff. But, the St. Ray's time was dope. You know what I mean? I ain't have no hard feelings because, like I said, the doors opened right up for me to go to Manhattan Center. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, that was the one thing. It was never like I was scared to go anywhere that I felt like I couldn't play.
Right.
Like,
everybody. You was one of the top players in your age bracket in the city.
Yeah, so it didn't bother me to say, yo, I'm gonna go here or I can go here or something was gonna open up. You know what I mean? And I was still looking at Catholic schools, but at the time they was talking about all that transfer stuff.
You had to take a year off or something like that, right?
Because people talked about Rice, of course, Rice right there. Go to Rice, go to Rice. It was crazy. I was so much St. Ray's, I didn't really feel like it. You know what I mean?
That rivalry is crazy.
I feel like it at the time, and the St. Ray's, the Manhattan Center thing opened up because my boy Sarah ended up going to Manhattan Center, and I'm still thinking about a school, and they called me like 2 days before school. Him and the starting team, my man Ike Thomas, yo, why don't you come here?
Wow.
And I'm like, all right. Almost every school I've been to been on some like no real plan to it. Like I'm just going. And, Manhattan Center was cool. We played, we did well. I got hurt or something like that, like the senior year, going into something. We lost a playoff game or something like that. That could have took us somewhere, but that was it, B. Then
Cameron and Mace went to Manhattan Center, right?
Yeah.
Because I think they went to the chip one year and played against Steph.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Yeah. I remember that. So
Cam,
let me ask you this. But you from Harlem, so like that's like all like your era, because they're about the same age as us.
Yeah.
Or maybe a year or two older.
The crazy thing about it, anybody in Harlem that did anything or done anything, I basically know or been around through ball at some point in time. I used to run with Cam. Cam just come pick me up at some times. Not to say playing Tiny Bum tournament up in the Bronx and Mace, come through and, so anybody, Jim, all of them, like, playing in 208 in the schoolyards and on the biddy courts and all that stuff. So been around, and the same thing for the Bronx, because my mom's is from the Bronx. And, Man Finley, Katona Park, all that stuff like that. So I used to be all over at times, hooping and stuff like that.
All right, so everybody just knew you from playing ball wherever you was at.
And my dad, being a junior, that also helped for some of the OGs because he's from the Bronx, but, he played a little ball, but more street dude. So when I used to play places, people be like, yo, come to me at the game, like, yo, I know your dad or whatever. And it would be crazy like that. But, the basketball thing, it was big. Like, I definitely, when I look back on it, I didn't know at the time, but my little buzz for a lot of stuff was big. And same thing for our crew, you know what I mean? And then we partied everywhere, you know what I mean? It wasn't like we was just on the block. We'd be in the
Right.
Bronx, we'd be in Brooklyn, anywhere it was at, we was there.
Oh, that's dope. So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
What age was you when you had your first son?
30.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And who was first? Hove or
King.
Hove was first?
No, King.
King was first.
Yeah, they're 11 months apart.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So how old are they now?
They both 11 and 10.
11 and 10. All right. And they've been with you since day one?
They've been with me since day one, but me and their moms was together in the
Oh,
beginning
okay.
anyway.
All
You
right.
know what I'm saying? And we decided to go our separate ways, and then we was doing it where they with her, they with me, they with her with me stuff.
Hmm.
And then, some things happened where, I was able to go to court and do what I had to do to put in to get the boys and stuff like that. So they've been with me now 9 years, 9 to 8 years,
Mm.
basically by myself. They moms is involved, but I mean, day to day, me for the last 9 years.
Oh, that's dope. That's
Yeah,
dope. Now, and it's crazy because as far as my situation, like, my mom's just kind of running around a little bit. So my pops had legal custody over me.
okay,
But I was raised by my grandparents on my father's side.
okay,
Like, as far as my mom's side, I really don't know too much of that family.
yeah,
I know like the immediate, like I know my mother's sister and her daughters, but
uh-huh,
outside of that, I really don't know too much of that family. Like my mom's mother died when my mom's was like 4, like her
okay,
real mother.
okay,
Um, her father's, I guess could say wife. I call her my grandmother. You know what I'm saying? So like, even like with your situation, like I could kind of relate a little bit, but then
yeah,
I can't. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? But like seeing how you move and like even some of the stuff like I see you post like you instilling in them, like as far as how like they got certain things they got to do throughout the day. They
yeah,
taking turns cooking dinner, then y'all
yeah.
doing it together. That's like super dope.
It's crazy because, like I said, what I mean, I was raised by my mom. My dad was locked up, majority of my time, but
Right.
he was always present. You know what I mean? Like his voice was always present. He was never there,
Mm,
but he always kept it present. My father's side of the family was always present. My
okay.
grandmothers and all that stuff like that. But they out in Miami and stuff. But
Mm,
just it was always phone calls, conversation, letters, things like that and whatnot. So I knew, so I don't have that. Like I don't feel like I had it. And then with the minute I was raised around, it was the same way. Like I had that type of male something around.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But for my moms and stuff, like my moms did it all, you know what I mean? And I just watched her do it all. So that's just how I move. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
I never seen her complain about anything or whatever it is. It's just what you got to do. And she still had a good time while doing it. You know what I
Right.
mean? You know what I mean? Hey, you go to your room, but I got company up in the front. Stay in your room.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
It's the same way. So that's all it is. And it's just crazy that, and it could have been different because I just like doing all those things. Before them, I always like cooking. I always like to
Mm,
do all of this stuff and so on and so forth. So, and it's pretty easy to pass on with them. You know what I mean? Because they just like to be up under you most of the time anyway. So you're like, hey man, why don't you just look? And it just got to the point now where I feel like they're able to start doing that because they've been asking for a while, but
oh, really?
you
That's
know,
dope.
but now it's like I can let them. But I'm gonna tell you the funny thing about it. It started with my mom because I'm still super shaky about everything.
Hmm.
Everything that I have them do now, my mom's done did it, and then I went along with it. So she's like, "Oh, I let them cook at the house." I'm like, "What?" Like when they over there with her,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
where it started.
Okay.
So then I start, all right, well, I'm gonna let them get involved with what I'm doing. And then the same with everything. So, you know what I mean? She tests the waters most of the time because if it's on me, I probably got like a set date, like, yo, when you
Yeah.
turn 13, like,
Nah,
word.
that's dope. So you said that they've been with you since what age?
since they was both about like 2.
But oh wow,
You know,
wow. And I know now you live in the South.
yeah.
And how long you been down there?
Now, 5 to 6 years. I came down in 2015, like August of 2015.
Okay. And what brought on that move? Like what?
Well, in the city, just going back through it, like I said, in the city, I used to run programs for like the place that like I said, Millbank.
Mm-hmm.
Millbank is Children's Aid Society. So it's a bunch of them all over. When I came home from school, I went to school out here at Shaw. I came back, they gave me a job as soon as I came back in the recreation field. That's how I'm a recreation major.
Okay.
And working on the east side, had them coaching. But at the time, it was like, yo, I kind of need to, when I became a dad like that, I was like, I got to kind of lock in with them more because I'm trying to learn how to be a dad, and coaching 2 or 3 basketball teams, running a program, it just didn't work at the time. So
Mm,
working, doing everything, this, that, and the third, but knowing that I went to school already in North Carolina,
right.
and how sports and everything is here, like, sports for us is different up there. We fans, but there's so much other stuff going on where
You can
it
get
doesn't
distracted
occupy.
easily.
It doesn't occupy. Here, sports is life. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people they ride with their license plate stuff on their
That's a fact.
lawns. Like, you NC State, Duke, Carolina, whatever it is, it's major. So I was like, yo, like, if I come back and do my thing here, it would be dope because once you get a following, you locked in with them.
Right.
So I used to always be up in New York, and I used to be like, yo, telling my boy Chop, like, yo, Chop, man, if you, start looking. Whatever happened, I had a situation where me and a landlord got into something about the house I was renting up in the Bronx. I was living up in the Bronx, up in like 221st and White Plains.
Uptown.
And yeah, and we had some discrepancy about a dog that I had and couldn't stay there no more. And a situation came, and my boy Chop just bought a new house, just got a new house, big old house.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, yo, you've been saying you want to come down here. If you want, you can come on. I'm like, I got to, like, come on. All right.
Wow.
And it was just like, I had some bread, you know what I mean? I packed up like in 2 weeks. Like, it was just like we talking right now. And he was like, yo, if you want to come down, you come down. I just got the house.
Right.
I'm sitting here, I'm thinking, because, and at the time, I'm like, damn, B, like, now I gotta try and find another place in New York.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say this, I didn't want to move back to Harlem or nothing like that. I lived in the Bronx in 2 houses already. I had a
Right.
house, a yard, all that stuff where I was living at. So I was like, I wasn't ready to go. If anything, I was going out to Yonkers, like, because I seen certain
Mm,
things out there that I like.
right.
But it was just like, to do all of that, and then everything I did was still in Harlem. So I would travel to Harlem every day while work was in Harlem, everything. So it was like, you know what? We talked. I had a situation. He had an extra car for me and all that. I'm like, I
Wow.
took off, got there. He, like I said, got a big old house downstairs, whole nother living room, all that stuff for me and the kids. Got there, got situated, stayed at his house probably like 3 months, and then got where I'm at now, and just been rocking. I was working in the schools for a second out here
Mm-hmm.
and whatnot, and doing what I do, like I said, behavioral specialist, running my programs, my own programs and stuff. And it was cool, but the same thing, I was working for other people that was paying me, and I felt like the money was being split up too many ways for me to be the only person working. You
Mm,
know what I mean? I'm the only person that go to the school, deal with all the kids, do everything, but the check is being cut four different ways. I feel like it should have just been one person and me, 50-50. You know
right.
what I'm saying? And they didn't agree upon it, so I parted ways. And like I said, I was like, I came out here to do my own thing. This is the time. You know what I mean? I
To
started
start
building
doing it
up.
right.
And the funny thing about it, like I said, Uber opened up.
Mm,
And I tell people, like, that's going to be part of my story when it comes. Like, if it wasn't for Uber, I wouldn't be able to do this because Uber gives me the time to do what I want to do.
work on
So,
your own time schedule.
yeah, the Uber thing opened up and I'm working. I try Uber. Chick talking to me like, yo, I made about 500 this week just doing it after work. Da, 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 da. So I'm like, let me see. I start doing it. Then I'm like, let me see how I go during the day. I took like a day off of work, 2 days off, made some decent money. I was like, you know what? I could make the same amount of money that I made going to this job and move how I want.
Mm.
I came into work probably like another day. It was like, yo, I quit. It was around. I was like, yo, I'm out. And I've been doing Uber and doing my training for the last 3 years.
That's dope. Handling your business. That's dope. Because
Yeah,
sometimes, you know what I mean, some people don't want to jump out there and and jump out of that security to do what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Where they end up being stuck at a job, not getting the money they should probably get, not getting the credit they should probably get, and but don't want to leave just out of that security. So to be able to jump out there like and be like, all right, let me do my own thing. I'll find a way and to make a way is like super dope. And and as far as like how you saying with the sports in North Carolina, you definitely right. Cause I lived out there for a little while. I think I lived out there for like 2 years before I came back to the city. And when Duke and North Carolina play, I be trying to tell like my mans and them up here, like it's a different type of atmosphere, bro.
definitely.
Like the state literally like shuts down and
Yo,
it go down out here.
look, and I was out here when I came out here for school. Like I said, I went here. I was with my boy Flip Murray.
Hmm.
Flip went here. So I
Yeah,
got to see
right.
another side of North Carolina through that, just by what he had going on, the buzz and all of that stuff like that, that the atmosphere. And then Jules was here. Jules was at state.
Hmm.
So I used to be at state with Jules. We rocking and all that. You know, Jules had the crazy buzz and he had state rocking. So I got to see all of that. Like, and just us being us and doing what we do. So, like I said, it was just like, yo, like this place. And who else was here? I think he went to Duke. Zeller,
Which Zeller?
somebody Zeller, Tyler Zeller, Cody Zeller, one of them dudes. He went to a high school out here called Broaden. And like I said, I'd never seen such a following. And when I seen that for his high school, I
Hmm.
said, this is what I got to do. Because he had a following and they had a following that was crazy. And that was high school. So
Right.
it's like, yo, if I come out here and build my program the way I see I could build it, which is basically what I grew up in, just my own version with a twist, which I was doing
Hmm.
before, and kind of just updating it. Because that's just like the same with the school system and everything else. They so set in the way they do things that they don't update it for what the kids need today. You know what I mean? Like mine's is sports and art. So before, when we used to have computers, the kids want to come in there, you want to try and teach them coding. Or,
Hmm.
not coding or the language C plus. They want to learn that, man. Show them how to make a video game and then work your way backwards or whatever.
Right.
You got to kind of
You got
start
to
with what
keep
they
them
want.
interested.
Yeah, start with what they want, but then work your way backwards into some of the other things that go along with it. So that's how I used to do things. I used to have when we used to have practice. My other man at the job, he used to DJ and make beats. So
Right.
we had the music in there. That was all.
Mm.
They didn't want to come and do no painting, but they could come in there and mess with the beats, try and make beats, record and stuff like that and whatnot. That got them in the building.
Right.
And I was doing that at East Harlem. Millbank had a full-fledged studio at the bottom and all that. Like after the time went, as they continued to grow and all that, full-fledged studio and all of that. So,
Mm.
I mean, that's all I'm trying to do, man, is just shed some light on some things as far as like, especially athletes,
Hmm.
just help them out. You know what I mean? Help them out in some form or fashion to know what they got in front of them and let them understand that, yeah, you can also do this for play, but if you want to do this, this is also a business now.
Hmm. That's a
And
fact.
there's a way to really set yourself up, whether it be going professional or anything else. Because not to say this, everything that I've got has came from me playing basketball.
Wow. That's
Every
crazy.
every everything that I've got came from me playing basketball. When I went to, you know what I mean? Same thing, coming to school out here, doing that stuff, people knowing me, yo, like when I came back, like I said, I played ball, y'all know me, job. And I've been having decent jobs paying real good money. I'm able to do it, but at the same time, I was getting that just look like, okay, Mike, what's up? You need something? I got you. Boom. Yo, another place here, dude. I got you. Same thing when I got out here for the job in the school. Somebody,
Right.
yo, man, I got somebody for you. Put me on like that. Like so, I knew what you can get out of sports and the
Open up
connections
so
that
many
you make
different
out of that
doors.
and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm trying to bring to the table with some of these kids outside of it just being, getting right on the court or on the field or whatever.
Right. That's dope. So let me ask you this: as being a single father, right? And you said you have Jump Boys for about, you said 9 years now.
Yeah.
Like, what's been the most overwhelming part of it for you?
Um, the overwhelming part
Or has it been?
is it. No, it has its times, because what you got to deal with that is different for me. One, I'm an only child, so
Mm,
having to, like I told them all the time, I don't even understand why they be arguing. Like, I don't even understand it. Like, yo, what are y'all arguing about, bro? Like, but I'm only child, so I can't understand some of that at times. But and it's still a work in progress. You know what I
right.
mean? It's still a work in progress. But knowing that they're older now, they understand me, and I kind of prepped it this way. Like I said, like, yo, when they get, 11 and 12, we're gonna be at a point, and that was my goal, to be at a point where we fully understand each other. Y'all know how I move, I know how y'all move. Let's just flow. Um, but before that, having two different personalities, like
Mm,
two different kids, you know what I mean? Like, far as just how they went about things, and then them not understanding themselves and how to control themselves in certain situations, whatever. So, like, for everybody on the outside, but this is just me being who I am, Virgo, perfectionist, what they say, whatever. I'm always on it, yo. But everybody, they doing good, they doing good, they doing good. Yeah, they doing good, but I'm always on it, because I know
right.
next need to keep going and stuff. But like I said, we there. We getting there. Like this year with the basketball and all that. Like, from I started last year with them with the pandemic, like really doing stuff, because it wasn't nothing to do. I got a court. Hey, if we want to be out here, let me show you, what to do and stuff like that and whatnot.
Right. That's
Because
dope.
yeah, they
Yeah,
be
bro.
with me. Yeah, now usually they be with me, but I'm training other people and they paying me, so I can't fit them in.
I
Like,
got
if
you.
I'm working somewhere, like, yo, y'all kind of got to sit down or whatever it is. I'm working with these people. This ain't
Right.
your time, and I always was like that. So they would just be with me. But also, I used to tell them, like, I'm not gonna start working with y'all until y'all ready to really work. So, we getting there, but I feel like this summer, going into this summer, it's gonna be big, and it's crazy because I see it in them. You know what I'm saying? I see it. It's gonna click. By next year, it's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be stupid. It's gonna be stupid by next year. But this summer, you're gonna see, like, it's not bad, not
now,
bad.
now that's what's up. Cause like I was just watching the live video you posted of a game a
Yeah,
couple of was that like a couple of days
a
ago, I
couple days
believe it
ago.
was. I was like kind of tuned into that, and I'm always watching like your training videos
Yeah,
and like some of the workout stuff you doing, like, and I'm like, you got a lot of equipment, know what I'm saying? And then like a lot of the stuff I see you doing, I'm like, wow, like I never seen people doing these type of drills.
yo,
It's a
I
lot
be,
of it is not even with a basketball.
yeah, yo, it be like, when I'm not on here with you or whatever, I'm watching TV, watching other trainers, other
Mm,
videos. Like, I ain't gonna say, like I said, like, people think it's Instagram and how I be on there, but most of the time, because I got so much stuff already tagged of people, like, I take the hashtag basketball workouts, this,
mm.
that, track workouts, and I incorporate it the way I feel it could work. So that be the
Wow,
issue
okay.
with me training people, is that I got to see you first. You know what I mean? You got to get on the court. So anytime we meet on that first one, it's just me kind of seeing what you can do, and then me figuring out what I think I need to do with you. And the majority of the
Mm,
time, honestly, yo, it's just a mindset. So I'm just trying to get them to the point to be able to think in a certain type of way. You know what I mean? That's why I call it elite focus training, because if you could lock in the way you need to lock in, and that's how most players do. You know what I mean? You lock in. You got to see past the mistakes and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I made a mistake. So what? A lot of people and players and
get
people,
stuck on that.
and as I said, that's not just a sports thing. That's a person thing. Something happens, it affects them so much that they can't move on to the next thing and be great at that, because they're still dealing with whatever that is, whether it's on the court or off the court.
Right.
So those are the things that I'm trying to instill in them, and what I've learned through that, which is the tough love part. Like, sometimes you really got to break people down. You know what I mean, to the essence, and let them feel all of that, and then bring them back
Bring it
up.
back.
So that's what I
Yeah.
do. That's what I do with them a lot of times, is break them down because I know I can get there with them. But some of them I don't because I learned that as a player when I got to college. Like, yo, just certain people you can't go that route with. So I'm at that point now where even with my kids, you know what I mean? Like, I can control myself how I deal with them as well too. Because trying to work with them and do everything with them, of course, I get into it a certain type of way too. So I got to be able to be calm to be able to get them in that space that I need them in. So first, I got to be there. So that'd be the main thing. And once you can get anybody, just like yourself, like for what you're doing, you had to lock in.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. I'm trying to get anybody to say, like, yo, bro, like, even if you ain't gonna be here, the same 2 hours you spend on the court, if you ain't gonna be here and you trying to be an engineer or try to do what you do,
You got to
you gotta
focus
put
the
two
same
hours
way. Yeah.
in to do that. So whatever it is,
Right.
lock in. That's what I'm trying to get these kids to understand. And once I can get that going, and I get them now like at early ages and even some at later ages, once they get that, it's over. So it's like you said, it's just really getting their body in shape and everything else gonna follow.
That's dope. And it's crazy because you got to kind of catch them young because this generation is different than our generation. Like their attention span is way shorter than ours.
Now, what I say to that too is like I
Yeah.
said, I'm one of those that's different with that too. Like, because for our generation, that's the same thing they said about us.
True.
Like that's what I feel like a lot of people don't look at that. Like the generation before us, say our attention span is not this. We're not this. We're not that. This, that, and third. I look at it as this generation is popping. Yo, these people are business owners, house owners. That
True.
I'm 40 years old, looking to still get ready to buy my first house, and I probably could have did it before, but I didn't know. They know that.
Right.
They driving cars at early ages and all this stuff like that. Like between us, we had 2 cars between the crew that we would circulate around. Now the whole crew got cars.
Right.
They learn how to do things and this, that, and third. And even on some, on some street stuff, they know how to move smart on some street stuff where they putting them in super crazy predicaments.
Right.
So
That's true.
on the overall, like I say, for this generation and every generation that's gonna keep coming, like
They smarter
yeah,
than us.
exactly. They doing it. And like what they say, like what people were saying before, it's like we're not saying, yo, do this or whatever. You know, you just trying to go against them. Oh, they this, they that. Oh, they doing this, they doing that. Yo, we was doing the same stuff, bro.
And,
It just
and
wasn't
that you
on
put
this.
and that you put it that way, like it's kind of how you were saying earlier, like it's basically like growing with the times.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? Like we can't expect them to be on the same type of time we was on, just like those before us can't expect us to be on that type of time.
It's a different wave, for certain stuff, yeah, but for the majority, nah, it's different. Yo, how y'all on y'all phones all day and all this stuff like that. That's where life is at. Some of these people, like I said, yo, making millions off these phones and off this stuff like that.
Right.
We didn't have those options.
Making money and not even leaving the crib.
Yo, all that, you know what I mean? For now, everybody's into the stocks and all that stuff like
That
that or whatever.
facts.
Those wasn't even options like that when we was coming up. You know what
That's
I'm saying?
true that.
So I respect what's going on with the younger generation. I feel like it ain't that. You just got to find the right people to relate to them. Because I look at that even in what I learned even in the school systems. Like I've seen teachers that know what they're doing, but they couldn't connect because they can't connect with the kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a behavioral specialist, so for me to be able to come into a classroom and the class kind of calms down and do what they got to do when I'm sitting in the classroom, compared to this teacher being able to have that same effect. Yeah, it's some, this person might not be the right person at this time for this job.
Right.
Whether it be you need to take some type of something to learn how to deal with people. But once again, it's just like before, how it used to be. You got the credentials, they're gonna put you down here.
Right.
Here. They're not really picking the right people all the time for the jobs in certain situations. So, you know what I mean? Yeah, I just feel like they're just people that they're there just to be there.
Yeah.
They're there
It's
for
a,
a
it's
check.
just a job. Right. It's
Yeah,
just a
you're
job.
not there for the right reason. If we hire everybody who's there for the right reasons, and of course it's kind of hard to weed out and stuff like that at times, that
Exactly.
people play that part, especially in the school systems. Because I be like, yo, why this? But it's a whole situation and all that stuff like that. But you know, set up perimeters a little bit better than that to get them in there. You know what I mean? On that probation period, you really got to see certain things, and that's all it is, man. Just like with this basketball stuff, like to me, I look at it as, some people doing it because they like basketball. Some people doing it for financial reasons. Some
Mm-hmm.
people doing it for both. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Some people just doing it to come up any type of way or some other type of whatever. Because like I said, with AAU and what I feel like is so watered down about it right now is that, like I said, everybody got a tournament, everybody got a team. Like I said, when I was coming up, we was coming up. It was only a few teams you could play for. You
Right.
couldn't jump around like how 1 second you playing here, then the next
Next
second
second
all
you
you got to
playing
do is just
there.
put the money up and you got your own team or somebody that this, that, and the third. You had to play. You had to go through the trials and tribulations to earn a spot or to fight for a spot and all that.
Right.
Once again, me, I never went through that, so I don't even know that side of it. I played that. Remember, I played. It was never no. I
Right.
showed up. I played.
You
I
ain't have to
started
sit
all
and
that.
wait your turn.
It was. I never had to do that anywhere. Even when I played at the Gauchos for a quick second just to run on the trip with them, it was like you playing. You know what I mean? But now, if you ain't playing, you going over here. If you ain't playing over there, you moving over here. If you ain't playing over here, you moving over there. So that don't help a kid because that just tells a kid, yo, if you don't want a kid, just quit,
Go
go
somewhere
somewhere else.
else. Right.
And
Yeah.
that's not real life opportunity. You
That,
can't work one job and think tomorrow you're gonna be at another job.
now
But you
that's
can do
crazy you
that.
said that, bro, because even going back to Rays, right? When
Yeah.
I went to Rays and Scott was my counselor. I'm
Okay.
pretty sure. I'm pretty sure he was most our counselors.
Mm-hmm.
But
He was the
Scott was
freshman. He
my
had to be the freshmen.
right. So Scott was my counselor. So like after like the first couple of years, I was telling my pops to transfer me to All Hallows. Cause I was already had played for the coach. He basically guaranteed me a spot. So I'm like, yo, transfer me to All Hallows. My pops was like, nah, why? Like, we're not gonna take the easy route, work harder.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it didn't take me till like I got older to really realize what he was doing. Like it didn't sit with me at the when he was first doing it. Like I had to wait till I got older. Like, oh, okay, he just wanted me to work harder to get what I wanted
Yeah.
instead of giving me the easy way out. He wanted me to know that everything ain't gonna be easy all the time. Some things I'm gonna have to fight for. You know what I'm
And
saying?
look, the funny thing that's me about that. The funny thing about that, like, here's the thing though. Maybe you should have went. Because that's the same thing with me. Like when I look back on it now, like I stayed with Milbank. Milbank was home always, forever. I done had Milbank tatted on my chest. Like
Right.
that's home. I felt like even when they was coming, even when some of my boys went, my mains went played for Riverside and all this, I ain't go. I stayed home. You know what I'm saying?
Out of
And
loyalty.
yeah, but when you look back on it, like I said, maybe I should have to go hit some of these tournaments or get certain exposure to certain things and stuff like that, or be around other people that could have put my name in other circles. Because even at St. Ray's, I didn't find out I had letters that came in from schools until probably my senior year at Manhattan Center, and it was something like he don't give any information to like sophomore, stuff like that. Don't want to get their head gassed and all that. But I'm like, I don't go there, so I definitely should have known.
Right. And I
So
used to
I
see
could
it. And bro, I think what year was that? It was one year I worked in the office.
have,
Like that was one of my like a part of my schedule.
yeah,
And I used to see a lot of letters.
mm-hmm.
Like I used to see letters for you. I used to see letters for Donald. I used to see letters for Jamal. I used to
There,
see letters for Bernard. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like and like from D1 schools. And
and didn't know.
I never knew that y'all wasn't getting them.
I just been in situations where, like I said, maybe they were. I was in situations like I said, you don't know, so you
Right.
don't ask. You feel what I'm
Mm,
saying? If they coming straight to you and then you find out later on, years later, that that's what's going on, like I didn't know. I didn't know if it was coming to me. I think you might have told me or whatever. Even like I said, when I was at Manhattan Center, like I didn't know certain things until after the fact. You know what I mean?
mm,
I even when I went to JUCO and all that, they were trying to get me to come to some joint in Iowa to go to Iowa and then do 1 year there at some JUCO and then go to Iowa State. That was when Mel Tinsley was about to get ready to leave there.
right.
So I had stuff from them and all that. But like I said, these were any basketball decision I've made. I mean, anything that happened, I made it. You know what I mean? To go to St. Ray, like my mom was just happy I was going to school and they was paying for me to go to school. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? Oh, my son, there's a good school. You play basketball, want to go? Go. I want to go to Madison, go. Like she didn't have no say so. Not she had, of course, you know what I'm saying, but it was
Just
my
long as you was
decision.
going to school.
Yeah, she didn't know this, I didn't have nobody to say, yo, nah, go here. You know what I mean? At one time I heard, Artie from Christ came like, yo, if it was any one player, it'd be Mike McLeod or whatever it is. I've heard that story and stuff like that. Who knows? Maybe I should have got on the train and went out there for my
Right.
last 2 years or whatever.
Shit,
You know
you
what
was
I
already
mean?
coming all the way to the Bronx, right?
Exactly, right? So it like I said, that's just what it is now, man. And that's the same thing I learned from when I was doing it when I had my kids
Hmm.
was like I said, I used to be at the game with the stroller with them on the side, shaking the stroller and coaching.
Wow.
Word to mother. They used to come to practices. Anywhere I've been with basketball, me refereeing, they sit on the side while I referee. They've been around it. I didn't have nowhere else for them to go.
They gotta
You
come
know?
too.
Yeah, everywhere. So, you know what I mean? It was just like I said, that's what I'm trying to do for people now. And I feel like I got the time and energy to give because I couldn't do it trying to learn them and all this stuff like that.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right,
saying? So now I feel like I got the time and energy to give it to be able to really help some kids, whoever it may be.
right. So let me ask you this.
Yeah,
Like being a single father, like you got the kid, you got your boys is with you all the time.
yeah.
Like, how hard is the dating scene?
It ain't been hard. Yo, like I said, I've been blessed in a lot of situations in life where like one, my mom has always been down with me and stuff like that. You know
And
what I
your
mean?
mom's is down there too?
Yeah, I moved my
Oh,
mom's down here a couple of
okay,
years ago and stuff. So
okay,
she's been here probably like 3, 4 years now
all right,
and whatnot. And even when she wasn't here, even before here and even there, but even when she wasn't here, I had my homegirl who I consider the boy's godmother, a girl that went to Manhattan Center, live out here.
right.
Yo, what's up? Da, da, da. I needed it. She'd take the boys from me, have them come spend the night, this, that, and
That's
stuff.
cool.
I don't need too many breaks, you know what I mean? But that's just how it was. Like I always had, if I needed to get out, I could always get out. I
Mm,
always had somebody that I could reach out to. But as far as my mom, drop on to my mom's when they moms was around, like when she lived in the city and stuff like that, we had certain things already set up. But she moved out the city a while back. She's out in Miami and stuff like that or whatever. But she, different places and stuff like that. So, I mean, between my moms and just family looked out for me. If I really needed something, I could drop off my cousin or whatever it is and bust a move or whatever.
well, that's dope. Got it because you gotta have a good support system.
Yeah.
That's dope. So, give a little more information with your program and like what you got going on with there, like for the people who might not know and in the area and looking for something like what you providing.
All right. So the first thing how it all started was like the basketball team stuff. You know what I
Right.
mean? Because I was coaching in the city. So the first thing that came out of that for me doing that was I was just focused on basketball. So now I got this thing where I kind of do everything because that's what I do when I run that school program. So it's called United Sports and Arts Academy Elite.
Mm,
And that's my nonprofit organization where, like I said, I'm in the midst of looking for a location. But what I usually do, like I said, when I work in the school, I work with kids in the school that kind of have behavioral issues.
okay.
And I created a little template, this thing called Elite Scholars, where they kind of follow the kid throughout the day, and it tells at this point in the day where they're at. Because out here they do something like a ruler. It's like a green, yellow, red situation, whatever. And you start at the top of the day. You can work your way up or work your way down, depending on how your day go. So the kids, at the end of the day, if you end up on green, you earn 5 points. At
It's
the
like a
end of the week,
behavior sheet.
yeah. End of the week, add the points up. I take the kids to do some type of basketball program, a sports program, and stuff like that. So that's where that came from. So I do a lot of that stuff in between with the schools and stuff. But now I'm looking, like I said, to do like summer camp, after school stuff. But the pandemic has slowed it up, so it's probably not going to be until the following year.
Right.
But I'm just doing little programs here and there that I'm gonna put out there, like with all my players who's gonna play with the basketball team. They're gonna be enrolled in the program, and they're gonna take that to their schools. And hopefully, by them seeing how my players are acting, oh, this kid go to this school, this kid go to that school. All these kids that play for your program are on point. hey, why don't we do this? You know, this is the program. I can offer this here or whatever it is. So that's part of it. The United Sports and Arts Academy Elite. Then I have the USA Elite Thundercats, which is the team stuff that you've been seeing
Right.
and whatnot, just AAU. And like I said, I could stick with basketball, but I've done all types of sports. And even when I've done it in the city, I've hired certain people. I've had baseball coaches that really like go out to Fort Lauderdale in the summer and train with pro athletes and stuff that work
Okay.
with my programs back in East Harlem. I've had, you know, like here, I got boxers that really, you know, if you see the gym I use, they got boxing and kickboxing. Like I got connections with them to bring them in. So that's going to be everything. But for now,
So
because
it's
what
kind
I
of
can
universal. It's not just
yeah,
basketball.
yeah, for what I can
Okay.
control is basketball.
Right.
But I got track people. It's just waiting to bring them in as I continue to build. So I got the nonprofit for the after school and summer camp stuff programs, the sports program, and then I have the elite focus training, which you see at times, you know. But a lot of them kids now are transferring over to be part of the team.
Mm.
But I do the training. You know, I train basketball players, but I also train people depending on what they need and what areas, you know, they're focused on. So, you know, I used to train some of the females at the school that I worked at. So after school was over, they'd come down to the gym. I trained them, you know, ladies around here, a couple of guys and stuff like that off and on. So right now is, you know, those are the three main things. I got the little clothing stuff. Matter of fact, let me see if I can, I'm gonna show you one.
Yeah. Get some of that merch.
I got some other stuff. Got some other stuff that I gotta. Man, I don't know
Oh
if you can
yeah.
see it.
Oh yeah. And you got a website for that, or that's
Nah,
not ready
I ain't
yet?
do the. I ain't go full throttle yet with the clothes and stuff. I just got a lot of different ideas. I'm gonna put some shirts out and stuff like that at some point in time.
Right.
Hopefully this summer. But like I said, I be making the stuff or I get it made, but I'm just getting it one at a time made. I'm finding
Okay.
somebody now that I can really do some stuff with. So I think I'm gonna just try it. I'm
So
gonna
right
try and
so right
go
now
home
you
with
just
the
got it
two
for you
shirts.
to wear.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna do
All
like
right.
I'm gonna do some stuff for like me and the kids, take some pictures, and like I said, the same thing with that. I'm gonna push it through my team. So
Mm.
I'm gonna just hit my, you know, I got my players wearing it. You know, here's a shirt, here's a shirt, here, wear it to
And,
school.
and and what
Whatever.
ages you working with? You got a certain age group you working with, or
Now,
you?
right now, because I'm building, I'm open to any age group because when I get a certain amount of kids, it opens up. But for now, of course, I've been focusing on my boys' age was that 11 and 10. So right now, we putting together like a 12 and under, maybe 13 and under group. So
Uh-huh.
most of the kids you see right now is 11, 10, 12, stuff like that. So once we get enough, like we got a good couple of kids right now, but as I said, I'm just trying to get them in shape. But once we get like 8 to 9 kids locked in, then we're gonna start playing. But say like I said with the AAU, I'm not traveling all over for nothing. You know what I mean? A lot of
Mm.
these they're killing these parents with this stuff. You know, my boys be coming out here for tournaments and they'd be like, yo, you know, I get it, but you could have played a game in the city. You know what I mean? Instead of spending 500 to a stat for a weekend to come out to North Carolina to go to Virginia or whatever, and it really ain't about nothing. Like when we played, you was going to something for something.
Right.
Now this is just Rucker out of state. This is just UDC in another state. Like it ain't nothing major
Right.
that all these teams is traveling to, and all these teams got enough teams in their area that they can play local tournaments, but they don't do
Mm.
it. So that's what I'm trying to bring out here too. How we got, you know, we every block it might be a game
Right.
going on. Out here, it's once a week, and it's a tournament. It's teams coming from all over, which is cool. But why they not circulating around with each other, playing? You know, I know over 100 teams out here just in this area. You know what I mean? That nobody really have local tournaments consistent. It might be a weekend and that's it. Like it ain't like how we got something that going for 6 weeks at a time, three
Right. Right.
weeks at a time and stuff. So
Just
that's
right
what I feel
local
like.
that you play a couple games a week.
Yeah, man, play a game. Let these kids go home. Let these parents go home. Let them not have to always get on the road and drive 5, 8 hours and sit at a tournament from 8 in the morning to 8 at night just so their kid can play 2 or 3 games.
Right. So if some and you based in North Carolina right now. So if
Yeah.
anybody in the North Carolina area wanted to like reach out to you about getting a kid involved, just give some information on how you could be reached, what's the process and all of
All
that
right, let me
type of
see if
stuff.
I can put it up right here. That's so that's just
Okay.
one. That's one particular thing. That's the website. That's the only. I got the other websites for everything, but this is the one that got stuff that's going on there consistent.
Okay.
But the Elite Focus Training, EliteFocusTraining.com. Mike McLeod Jr. at EliteFocusTraining.com. Um, Mike McLeod Jr. 24/7 on Instagram, and then that'll connect you to all the other stuff that I got going on right now. But
Right.
yeah, that's it, man. Just working and growing. Wait, like honestly, when this whole thing opens up, that's when I know it's gonna pop.
Right. See, right
You
now
know?
you working kind of in like like a shelter with this pandemic because there's
Yeah,
only so much you could do right now. And I know
yeah,
like it's a little different out there than it is here in the city.
yeah,
Cause like out here in the city, like a lot of stuff is opening up.
yeah. We
Like,
opening up this week though. They just put the thing Friday. Like almost everything is back to like 100%.
oh really?
What's the only thing that they doing is like stadiums is still kind of what's name, but like bars, all that stuff like that,
Oh
gyms,
yeah. You know,
everything could
that's
go
the
back to
money game.
100%. So yeah, and some kids are going back to school now, like back into the building. So like I said, by the summertime, I have a couple more kids. Like I'm waiting for 2 or 3 more kids that's ready to rock and roll, and it's on.
All right, that's dope. So before we get out of here, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to keep you too long. Like, what advice would you give to a single father or a father thinking about being a single father, taking on that responsibility?
It's real. It's real. Like I like sitting here. I never had to really answer that question, but it's real in the fact of like, yo, if you ain't gonna do it, that's what's gonna make it tough. Like if you ain't willing to say, I'm gonna get up. I mean, like even with myself, like yo, not to say sacrifice. I still did what I wanted to do, but they first. You know what I mean? Like
Mm,
everything is them first. You know what I mean? Anything I do, like that's how I kind of work for myself. My son was having some issues in school and stuff like that, and I was having to get called to school and all of that. And I was like, yo, I gotta find a way to make this work because this job they working with me, but I can't keep leaving work and
right,
you know
right,
what I mean. So everything I do is just to put them in. So that's the one thing, man. Like you got to be fully committed to it, and if it's something that you really feel like doing, like on some, going for court and stuff like that. Like I went and did it official and
right,
whatnot. Yo, go do it, B. Only thing I can say, we know people that's in the streets and stuff like that. But if you ain't got no situation like that or whatever, and you straight, gotta go do that, man. It don't hurt to go to court and put that paperwork in and stuff like that, whether it's to get custody of your kids or to lock in secure time with your kids. Because a lot of guys I know don't do it because they don't want to deal with whatever else come with it. Maybe a child support situation where you're already probably paying more than what they asking you anyway.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So to make sure you got that locked in time because, women are great, but sometimes when them kids get involved, they get different. And then you ain't seeing your kid and all this other stuff like that. And it's all because you don't want to go to court and take care of that stuff. That's more important than anything, that little bit of bread that you might have to give up every month, which like I said, most guys are already spending more than that's taking care of their kids than what child support would be asking for.
Right. That's
You
what's
know?
up. Yo, Mike, I appreciate you for coming through, bro.
Yeah,
It
my
was
G, I
great talking
appreciate
with
it.
you.
Same.
This was like like I told you earlier, bro. I got a lot of respect for what you're doing. It's rare to see, and it's good to see how you're doing it. And I love how you post a lot of videos of the process. And that bro, it's out of this world, bro. Like you really doing something special. Keep up the good work. Um, Anybody that's out here, follow my guy. He doing what he do for the community. He know the game. So if you want your kids to learn the game properly and learn how to move and the business part of it, this is somebody you definitely need to link with. And on that note, we're gonna get off this. Y'all can follow Y'all can follow the podcast page at the M3L Podcast. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Love is love, y'all. Peace.
My guys.